Hey there, it's Dr. Iris Crawford here, and welcome to our Tuesday Facebook Live. And I am just working away in my office. It's kind of a mess. But I wanted to, today's weather kind of reminded me that we've been really lucky with fall so far here in Seattle. We have had a really sunny, mild fall. And today we had it really felt like the first kind of cold, damp, kind of foggy, dark gray day. So I kind of wanted to talk about seasonal affective disorder because, sometimes if you're struggling with depression at all, and even if you're not struggling with depression, you can start to feel the effects of that in the winter time as we get into the darker weather. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So seasonal affective disorder, as some of you may know, is a depression that comes on in the winter time or even in the fall where, the dark days really make it, hi Shona, really make it difficult to get through the winter. So you get sad, and a lot of people suffer from this. And so you want to have some ways to support yourself through the winter blues, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about why this happens. So I'm gonna switch this around for just a second and show you this drawing. So this is your sleep-wake cycle. And in the morning time, your cortisol graph there should be kind of high, not too high, but you want it to be high so that you feel ready to jump out of bed and handle the stress of the day. And then in the evening, your cortisol levels should be low so you can fall asleep. And in the morning time, also your melatonin levels should be low so that you don't feel sleepy. And then it goes up exponentially at night so that you do feel sleepy. Well, guess what? This is not always the case for a lot of people, right? So this graph can get messed up when stress happens. So this graph actually, you can have too high of cortisol or too low cortisol. You can have in the morning or in the evening, and you can have too high of melatonin in the morning or the evening. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because seasonal affective disorder happens in the darkest times of the year because light actually shuts down melatonin production, and in the presence of darkness we make more melatonin. So when it's the dark short days, we're overproducing melatonin. Now of course you may not know what your melatonin levels are because no one really tests for that. I test for that in all my patients because part of melatonin, that sleep-wake cycle I just showed you, tells me what level of adrenal fatigue that you're in. So it is actually important information that I gather. And a lot of people out there have trouble sleeping too, so then they're taking melatonin to help them get to sleep or stay asleep. And you might be walking around with really high levels of melatonin because you've been taking melatonin for years to help with sleep. And that's not good either. So before you take melatonin, you should have your melatonin levels checked. Especially because if you do have seasonal affective disorder or if you have depression, then it could be because you're taking too much melatonin, or maybe you're making too much in the dark days of winter. So you can test it. But if you do have seasonal affective disorder, one of the big things that people will do is they'll use a light box, because in the morning time, if your melatonin levels are too high, a light box exposing your eye to that light actually shuts down melatonin production. So you can actually manually shift your melatonin to go down in the presence of light, and then you can create it's called sleep hygiene at night. You can create more melatonin so you can fall asleep without the use of melatonin. So if you're using a lot of devices like your telephone or TV or all kinds of computers at night, so a lot of us are guilty of that, and you're having a hard time falling asleep, then you can maybe read a book or a magazine or something before bed instead of something with artificial light. Turn the lights down a little bit around your house so that you're just getting kind of a soft glow, and that can help your body make more melatonin. And then in the morning, you can use your light box when you want the melatonin to be reduced. So a light box can be purchased on Amazon, and make sure that it has 10,000 LUX, 10,000 lux. And that is the brightness level that is the therapeutic dose that will help shut down melatonin. You want to use it each morning for about 20 minutes, just when you're getting ready for work or having your tea or your coffee, and have it be direct light so that it's stimulating the eye. So in addition to that, definitely make sure that you are taking vitamin D. And I recommend that every person gets their vitamin D levels checked once a year so that you can make sure you're taking the right dose. Some people who take vitamin D, they're not taking enough. And even if you are taking what you think is enough, you still could be deficient. And there's nothing that causes depression more easily than vitamin D deficiency. That's a really quick and easy way to help boost energy and mood and all of that. There's no other, medication or supplement that you can cover up a vitamin D deficiency. So make sure you have good vitamin D status and not making too much melatonin. If you are, maybe you'll need a light box, and that will help with seasonal affective disorder. And of course, depression is a big issue, so reach out for support, find, naturopathic doctors close to you, or, get those resources on board so that you can really optimize your health, and then you don't have to struggle so much. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.